Hello everybody, this is Paul and Lisa with Torah Life Ministries, and we are reading the Torah portion for next week, and we are continuing in Exodus. This is the second reading of Exodus. We're up to Exodus 6:2 to 9:35, and we left off last time where Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh. Let my people go was the message, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened by our Creator. And this week we're going to read about all the plagues that happened to Pharaoh in Egypt to finally decide, say, okay, we got to let them go and acknowledge and listen that there is the ultimate almighty Creator, and he is on the side of Moses and the children of Israel, and we have to listen, and that's where we're at. Now, we're up to Exodus 6:2, which is the 14th reading in this year's Torah cycle, and the Torah is the foundation of all Scripture. You've heard me say that before because that is essential. If you want to understand the message of Yeshua Messiah and the message of all Scripture, you have to understand, have a good understanding of the foundation of that. So that's where we are. I'm going to start off here in Exodus 6:2. And in Exodus 6:2 it says, "Now a wonderful Creator spoke to Moses and said to him, I am the wonderful Creator of all, and I appear to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And my name is El Shaddai," which means the Almighty One. And he goes on to say, "But I was not known to them by my name," because he revealed his name to Moses, Yad-Heh-Vah-Heh, and some people today will translate that to Yahweh or Yahuwah or Yahuwah, but he revealed his name to Moses, and he went on to say here, "They knew me, but not by my name." And it says, "And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, in which they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians are keeping in bondage, and I remembered my covenant." So again, we have a wonderful recapping here of all of the scriptures up till now. We have our Creator meeting Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, revealing himself to them, but not by his name until Moses comes, and then he reveals to him by his name. And he reminds Moses that I made a covenant with them, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but the children went into this slavery in Egypt. And here Moses is now helping the children make their exodus or their escape out of Egypt. And it's a wonderful recap of that. And now we continue to go on. And remember, when our Creator recaps that to Moses, Moses wrote the Torah, and Moses knew this information, but we've now read the Torah over and over again for many years, and there are many people that have read it and taught it and spoke about it. Well, this was Moses writing it in the original. There was no, I'm reading this story. He heard the story, and he wrote the story down, and he was the first one to record it, or at least put it in here, what we have today, what we're reading it from. So this is our Creator reminding Moses, speaking to Moses exactly to make sure he got it right. And it goes on here in 6:6 of Exodus to say, therefore, to say to the children of Israel. So he's telling Moses to say to the children of Israel that I am the wonderful Creator, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of Egypt, and I will rescue, deliver you from your bondage, and I will redeem you with the outstretched arm and with the great judgments. So he says he will, he will rescue, he will deliver you and from their bondage, and he will redeem you. So we have all these different things that he's going to do, and that's what he does. And this is a wonderful example of our wonderful Messiah, the human form of a wonderful Creator. He will rescue, deliver from you from your bondage, and redeem you. That's a wonderful, great example showing you the whole point of Messiah to come and the whole point of what he's here for. And here it is, right here, our Creator doing it to the children of Israel that were in slavery in Egypt. With my outstretched arm, with great judgments, and I will take you to myself for a people, for his people, and I shall be your God to you, and you will know that I am the Creator, I am your Elohim, I am your God, who brings you out from under the burdens of Egypt, and I shall bring you into the land concerning which I lifted up my hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, and I shall give it to you for a heritage. I am the wonderful Creator. So this is such an encouraging thing for Moses and Aaron to tell the children of Israel, and he's re-encouraged because he already went to them once, as we saw in the last reading, and we saw the burden on the Israelites was actually made worse, not better. So here's the encouragement of our Creator saying, go to the children of Israel and you speak to them and tell them all this. And in 6:9 of Exodus it says, and Moses spoke to the children of Israel, but they did not listen to Moses because of lack of spirit and hard labor. Well, the real reason they didn't listen to him is because they listened to him the first time with encouragement and excitement. And what happened was the Pharaoh made their burden even worse, not better. So they started to doubt that Moses was telling the true story here, because why would our Creator send Moses and then the problem get worse? The children didn't understand that it was our Creator hardening Pharaoh's heart and not letting them be released. And they thought it was Moses just making this up, and Moses was a crazy man or something else. They had the lack of spirit, the lack of faith, and the hard labor. And this is why they didn't listen. So they didn't listen. And in Exodus 6:10 it says, and our Creator spoke to Moses saying, come in, speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to send the children of Israel out of his land. And the children of Jacob that are stuck, the descendants of Jacob, speak to Pharaoh to send them out. So it says Moses spoke before our Creator saying, see, the children of Israel have not listened to me. So how will Pharaoh listen to me? I am of uncircumcised sealed lips. And our Creator spoke to Moses and Aaron and gave them a charge for the children of Israel and for Pharaoh king of Egypt to bring the children out of Israel out of the land of Egypt. So remember, this isn't going to be the first time that Moses is going back to Pharaoh to tell him to let the children go. And we're going to see what happens here. But first, we see something a little strange or a little different. In chapter 6:14 of Exodus, we see a complete change of the story of Moses going to Pharaoh, and the children of Israel or some of the tribes of Israel are named again. So we got 6:14 of Exodus says, these are the heads of the fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben and the firstborn. And then it goes on and it goes through the names here, and then it goes along and it says the sons of Reuben. And then it talks about everything we've already discussed. It goes through his son. And then it says the sons of Levi. And it talks about the sons of Levi according to the generations. And in 6:20 it gets into the sons of Levi. And we see Moses and his brother Aaron. They are the sons of Levi, or the sons of the tribe of Levi. Then we go back to chapter 6:29 of Exodus, and that's where it says that our Creator spoke to Moses saying, I am the wonderful Creator. Tell Pharaoh everything that I told you. And Moses said before our wonderful Creator, behold, I am an uncircumcised sealed lips. How will Pharaoh listen to me? So basically from 6:14 to 6:29, again, it's recapping the story up to now, exactly what has just recently happened in the same reading here. Now, this is what the Torah does a lot. It doesn't just say something and move on. It's continually recapping what had happened. Why? Because we are told to have the Torah on our heart and not to forget, to always remember it. And when you're hearing something over and over again, it helps you remember it. So when we pass through the book of Exodus and then we go through the following books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Numbers, it continues to recap and recap everything that's already happened. So we continually remember, and we don't, oh yeah, I remember that, and this is the result of what happened. And because we have to understand that our Creator gives us His message in the Word, and if we watch His Word and we obey His Word, we're going to be blessed for it. Obedience and blessing go hand in hand. But if we disobey His Word, that's another story. We get the curses. Now, we see here in the Scriptures, there's a circumstance and there's an outcome. And He sets up the idea for us how we should be living our life. He's told Moses a direct command and Aaron a direct command. You go and you tell our Creator this, and you go out on faith and you make sure this happens. Well, you know, there's a direct result of being obedient, and that's the ultimate message of Scripture, is being obedient and have faith that our Creator is who He says He is, and He wants the best for us. So now we're going to go into chapter 7 of Exodus. We see Moses preparing himself to go into Pharaoh, and in 7:1 it says that our Creator said to Moses, see, I have made you as a god to Pharaoh. Now, this isn't him making him as a god. No man can be made as a god. But he is making him as a god to Pharaoh, meaning I am going to do these godly things through you so Pharaoh could see that I am the ultimate creator. But he's going to use Moses as his mouthpiece, so to say. And it goes on to say, so I'm going to use your brother Aaron as a prophet. And we got to look at the understanding here of a priest and a prophet. You see, even though Aaron and Moses were from the family of Levi, which were the priests, here they were being used as prophets. Now, what is the difference? Well, when you're a priest, you are taking the message of the people, and you are representing the people and bringing the message to our wonderful Creator. But when you're a prophet, you are doing the reverse. You are taking the message of our Creator and bringing it to the people. And now that's what we have here at Moses and Aaron. They were being used as a prophet. Moses and Aaron were going to not only the people, but also to Pharaoh, saying, this is the message, let my people go. And it says here in Exodus 7:2, you will speak all that I command you, all, not some, all that I command you. You and Aaron your brother will speak to Pharaoh, so he will send the children of Israel out of his land, and I shall harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. Now, why would he do this? First of all, he wants everyone, all the heathens, all the Israelites, everyone to know who he is and to do things that no one else can do. Now, he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and we have to understand here, Pharaoh wasn't some easygoing guy that said, well, I'll consider letting you go. No, he was an evil, evil man, and his heart had to be hardened even more than it already was, to be made more evil, or to be even more in unbelief that the things that could be done, not by his Egyptian gods, but by our wonderful Creator. And our Creator knew how to just get into his heart the right way, or tug his heart to make him do what he wanted him to do. It says, but Pharaoh will not pay attention to you, so that I can lay my hand upon Egypt and bring out my armies, my people of the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Creator when I stretch forth my hand over Egypt and bring out all the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did so as our Creator commanded them so. So they went in and they said every single thing that our Creator told them to say. It says Moses was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. So now this brings up a very important point, because some people might ask, well, Aaron was 3 years older than Moses, so when Moses was actually taken and told to be thrown into the river, as all the children of the boys of Israel were told, and he was put in a basket, well, he actually had a 3-year-old, so why wasn't Aaron told the same thing? Or why didn't we hear about Aaron back then? Well, at the time Aaron was born, they didn't have this decree from Pharaoh saying all the children of Israel, all the boys, the midwives should kill them and so on. So that started when Moses was born. And so we have Aaron, Moses' older brother, and he was 3 years older. So we need to keep that in mind for future readings and past tense readings, but it's mentioned for a reason. So 7:8 of Exodus says, and our Creator spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, show a miracle for yourself, then you will say to Aaron, take your staff and cast it before Pharaoh. It will become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did as our Creator had commanded. And Aaron cast down his staff before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Now, let me clarify something up here for you for the misunderstanding of scriptures today. Maybe a long straight staff would look nice to turn into a long straight or curly serpent or a snake, but that's not what it was, folks. When you do a little history into the scriptures, you find out in Egypt at that time, they had many different gods that were the form of different animals. As a matter of fact, we're going to read many different stories in the rest of this reading that talk about many of these different forms of these different animals and so on, or these gods. But one of the most common at that time was crocodiles. And the real reading here should be that the staff was turned into a crocodile, not a serpent. And it was just a sign that, look, I'm making this crocodile take the form of one of your gods. And I'll pick it up and then it'll be destroyed and gone. As we read on, it says, then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, and now the magicians of Egypt, and they did in like manner with their enchantments. For each man cast down his staff, and it became crocodiles. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. His crocodile swallowed up their crocodile. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not pay attention to them, as our Creator had said. So we have here the understanding of it's a crocodile, and they mimicked the thing that Moses had done and Aaron had done via our wonderful Creator. And that goes to say that Satan was there, and he was there, and many of the things, the wonderful signs that our Creator can give, he can give also. And this is the way he deceives many people today. He'll give them many different signs and tell them many different things to make them believe that he is of our Creator, and he can do the things, or he even is our Creator. And many people are deceived today. Remember, signs and wonders are wonderful and amazing, but they don't always come from our Creator. So we really, really have to understand and pray and make sure we're hearing from the right spirit. It goes on in 7:14 to say, "And our Creator said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to send the people out." Now, of course, Moses knew this. It says, "Go to Pharaoh in the morning, and when he goes out to the water, you will stand by the river's bank to meet him, and you will take the staff which was turned to a serpent or to a crocodile in your hand, and you will say to him, the Creator of the God of the Hebrews has sent me to you, saying, send my people to go, so that they can serve me in the wilderness. And behold, till now you will not listen, thus says our Creator. But by this you will know that I am the Creator." He didn't say, by this you will listen. He says, by this you will know that I am Creator. "Behold, I shall strike the waters in the river with the staff that is in my hand, and they will be turned to blood." Now, it says, "And the fish that are in the river will die, and the river will stink, and the Egyptians will not be able to drink the water of the river." Well, first of all, it said he wasn't going to the river. This is a Hebrew idiom. And he was really saying that Pharaoh was actually going to the bathroom, and he was going to the water. And that was, in those days, they didn't have a nice fancy bathroom like they do in hotels or in your house today. No. They had to go somewhere to go to the bathroom, whether it be an outhouse or somewhere. And he was going to the bathroom, he was going to the water. And he didn't go to the river every morning to look at the beauty of the river and admire it and so on. No. He was going to the bathroom, and maybe he went to the river after the bathroom, and he wasn't admiring the river and the wonderful creation and beauty of that our Creator created. No. The gods, the fish in the river that they considered gods, maybe he was worshiping them every morning. Or maybe he was worshiping the sun god every morning when it came up, standing by the river. But the Pharaoh, the plagues now begin. It says in 7:19, "And our Creator spoke to Moses and say to Aaron, take your staff, stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their streams, over their rivers, over their ponds, and over all their pools of water, so that they will become blood. And they will be blood throughout all the whole land of Egypt, both in the vessels of wood and the vessels of stone." And Moses and Aaron did so, as our Creator commanded. And he lifted up the staff and struck the waters of the river in the sight of Pharaoh, in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. So all the waters of the river now were turned to blood, and the fish in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and the blood was throughout the land of Egypt. And now this is all recapped in Revelations, where it talks about this. And it goes on to say here, "And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enhancements, and Pharaoh's heart was straightened, and he did not listen to Moses and Aaron as our Creator had said." So their musicians somehow did the same thing, but I don't know how they did the same thing, because if everything was already blood, how were they going to turn the water to blood? Maybe they just took a cup of water and turned it to blood. Some magic was going on here, something not of our wonderful Creator. They didn't strike the river and make it blood, it was already blood. So maybe somehow they had a cup of water and they did that. But regardless, Pharaoh was not convinced yet. And Pharaoh turned and went in his house, and he did not pay any attention to either. And all the Egyptians dug around the river for water to drink, for they could not drink the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after our Creator had smitten the river. So the 7 days after he smitten the river were fulfilled or passed and so on. And now the river didn't go back to not being blood. It was still blood here. And it says, and our Creator spoke to Moses, come to Pharaoh and say to him, thus says our Creator, send my people away. So now this is not the first time that Pharaoh's hearing this message, and it's amazing that Pharaoh would even let Moses in his presence, because again, Pharaoh had the power to snap his fingers and have them destroyed. So why wasn't he destroying them? So why wasn't he just saying, I don't want to see your face again, and so on? It says, but he will see what happens here. So they can serve me. Go, let us go. And if you refuse to send it, behold, I will plague all your borders with frogs, and the river will be brought forth frogs abundantly, which will go up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, upon your bed, into the house of your servants, upon your people, into your ovens, into your throws, and the frogs will come upon you and upon the people and upon all of your servants. Now, let me tell you, folks, this is not discussed in Scripture. And when it says here what we read, and 7 days were fulfilled when he smit in the river, it doesn't necessarily say now the river went back to being water. So I'm to believe the river was still blood, and these frogs that came out of the river were bloody frogs, or frogs covered in blood. And they stank, and every time they hopped, they were getting blood everywhere. So, and now some literature would say that it wasn't many frogs hopping out of this river. First of all, how many frogs can be in a river? If everything in the river died, they said the fish died. Well, the rabbinical literature would go on to say that one frog came out of the river, and all the other frogs duplicated from that one frog, or were multiplied. Well, not only was the crocodile considered a god in those days, well, so was the frog. And they bowed to the frog. So here, our Creator is messing with the Egyptian gods, the people that they worship to, really getting them. And I don't think people see that and realize that it wasn't just a little frog. This was a god to them. The crocodile wasn't just a crocodile or a snake or a serpent. It was one of their gods. So he's really messing with them here. So now we're into the 8th chapter, and we're seeing what happens with the actual frogs. In 8:1 it says, and our Creator spoke to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch forth your hand with your staff over all the streams and the rivers, and over all the ponds, and cause frogs to come out of the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enhancements, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. So again, somehow, some way, they were able to duplicate all these things that were happening here that our Creator told Moses and Pharaoh to do. But now Pharaoh said, this is crazy. They're messing with our gods, and we can't live like this. So he called for Moses and Aaron and said, plead with your Creator, so he will take the frogs away from me and my people. And I shall send the people out so they can sacrifice to your Creator. And Moses said to Pharaoh, glorify yourself over me. When will I plead for you, for your servants, and for your people to destroy the frogs from you and your house, so they may return to the river? And he said, tomorrow is when I shall do it. So Moses named the time, and he said, it will be according to your words, so you will know that there is no one like our Creator. Now remember, a covenant, or the word, meant everything to an Israelite, or the children of Israel, but it meant nothing to the Pharaoh and the people of Egypt. So here Pharaoh is just lying, blatantly lying, and I don't believe he ever had an idea to let them go free. It said, and the frogs will depart from you and your houses, and from your servants and from your people. They will remain only in the river. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh and cried to our wonderful Creator, because the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And our Creator did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out from the houses and the village, and out of the fields, and they gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was no more frogs anywhere, he strengthened his heart and paid no attention, as our Creator had said. So now, again, we see him breaking the covenant, breaking his word, breaking his bond, and we see our Creator paying attention and listening to the timing that Moses said. And then we go on to the next. We go on to the lice, the plague of the lice, or the gnats, and so on. It goes and say in 8:12 of Exodus. And our Creator said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the land, so that there will be lice throughout the land. And this is the plague here. It says, and they did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the earth. and it became lice upon man and upon beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout the land, and the magicians did so with their enhancements to bring forth lice. But they could not. So now we see finally they could not duplicate what has happened. And there was lice upon all the men and all the people here, and these plagues are getting worse and worse and worse. And so now there's lice upon all the people here. And the magician said to Pharaoh, "This is indeed the hand of the ultimate creator. We cannot duplicate what he's doing." But Pharaoh's heart was strengthened or hardened. And I like this translation. It says strengthened. It says what it was hardened, many translations say, and he did not listen to them as our Creator had said. And our Creator said to Moses, "Rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Behold, he comes out to the water here, and say to him, Thus says our Creator, send my people away so they can serve me. Or else if you will not send my people away, swarms of flies will be upon you, upon your servants and upon your people and in your house, and the house of the Egyptians and also the ground. And they will be full of swarms of flies. But they shall not be in that day in the land of Goshen in which my people dwell. So no swarms of flies will be there. So you will know that I am the ultimate creator in the midst of the earth. And I shall put division between my people and your people. This sign will happen tomorrow." So now here Pharaoh's being told that not only will this next plague, the swarm of flies, take over your land, but it's not going to happen. And again, it says locusts in some translations. Regardless, it's not going to happen in where my children are, where the children of Israel, but it will happen in the land of Egypt here, and it will happen in all these land of Pharaoh's people. And this will be a sign. But it goes on, "I will set division between me and you." Now we're seeing something, because do you know what the word holy means? The word holy means set apart. Division is set. So here he's saying, because my people are set apart. They are set apart, and they are my people, and I will set my people apart from you. So we see that, and that's what the scriptures are about, separating the clean from the unclean, the holy from the unholy. And this is a great example of what our Creator does right here, and a great example of what later on our Messiah teaches us to do, separating the clean from the unclean and the holy from the unholy. And then it happens. We see here the fourth plague in with the flies. It says in 8:20 of Exodus, "And our Creator did so, and they came in a tremendous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh and the servants, the houses, into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted and covered by reason of a swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said to him, Go sacrifice to your God in the land." So Pharaoh said, "You can go, but go in this land." And Moses said, "It's not right for us to do that, for us to sacrifice to our Creator here in this land. It will be an abomination to the Egyptians if we sacrifice to the Egyptians before their eyes in their own land. And they will, won't they stone us or try to get rid of us? No, we will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to our Creator, as he commanded us. And Pharaoh said, I shall send you so you can go sacrifice in the wilderness, only you will not go very far away. And so plead on my behalf to get these flies out of here." And Moses said, "See, I am going out from you, and I shall plead with our Creator, and the swarms of flies will depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But do not let Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not sending the people to sacrifice to our Creator." And Moses went out from Pharaoh, and he pleaded with our Creator. And our Creator did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from the people, and he removed not one. He removed all of them, and Pharaoh strengthened the heart this time, and he did not send the people out. So do you see a pattern here? Well, it's the same pattern we have amongst unbelievers today. They continuously, when times are bad, when times are hard, they will cry out to anyone and everyone, and including our Creator. But when times are good, they forget about our Creator, and they think that they are in charge and they are in control. But as we see, that's not the issue. Send my people away, chapter 9 we're up to, and it's the last chapter of this week's reading. It says, our Creator said to Moses, Come to Pharaoh and say to him that the Creator of the Hebrews says, Send my people away so they can serve me. For if you will refuse to send them out and will still hold them, Behold, the hand of our Creator is upon your cattle that are in the field, upon the horses, the donkeys, and the camels, upon the oxen and the sheep, all the cattle, and I will give them all a severe plague, and I will separate between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and nothing will die that belongs to the children of Israel. And our Creator appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow these things will happen. So again, we see the separation, the set apartness. And it says here, the plague happened on the animals, the fifth plague. It says our Creator did the thing the next day that he said he would do, and all the cattle of Egypt died. But not one of the cattle of the children of Israel died. And Pharaoh said, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Israel that died. But the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened or hardened, and he did not send the people out. And our Creator said to Moses and to Aaron, take for yourself handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heavens, and in the sight of Pharaoh, and it will become a small dust in the whole land of Egypt, and it will be a boil breaking forth, the boils upon man and upon beast, throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, what about it? Why is it going to be boils upon all the land of Egypt, but not upon all the animals that were, didn't all the animals of Egypt die? Well, it said all the animals in the field died, so there were still animals that weren't in the field. Only the animals of the beasts of the field died. So when it says here that all the animals this will happen, it was still the Egyptians' animals, but the ones that didn't die, only their animals in the field died. So now we see the sixth plague here of the boils breaking out. And it says they took the ashes and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled up towards the heaven, and it became boils and blisters, bursting forth upon man and upon beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of all the boils that were upon the Egyptians and upon all of Egypt. And our Creator strengthened or hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he paid no attention to them, as our Creator had told Moses. So people need to understand, when they hear later on that our Creator took all the firstborn of Egypt and just killed them all, he didn't just destroy them all. He gave them warning after warning after warning after warning. And that is the same thing that he does for us in our life. He will give us warning and warning and warning and warning to help us see who he is. But eventually it'll run out, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse if we keep rejecting his word or his warnings. So we have to accept him, just like Yeshua Messiah. We got warning and warning and warning, and he's given us his word over and over and over again. And that is the mercy that he's given us, the time to figure it out. But time will run out, as it did here for the Egyptians. It says, our Creator said to Moses, get up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Creator of all, the Creator of the Hebrews, the Israelites, said, send my people away so they can serve me. For I shall at this time send all my plagues upon your heart, upon your servants, and upon your people. So you will know that there is no one like me. For now I shall stretch out my hand, so I can strike you and your people, and they will be cut off from the earth. And this I have raised up on you in this order to show you my power and my name declared throughout all the earth. Do you still exalt yourself against my people, so you will not send them out? Behold, tomorrow I shall about this time cause it to rain, a severe hail, such that has not been seen in Egypt ever since the foundation of the earth until now. Therefore, send now, gather your cattle and all that you have in the field, for every man and animal that is found in the field will not be brought home. The hail will come down upon them, and they will die. He who feared our Creator, the word of our Creator, they made sure they got inside, and they got into his houses. But those that didn't fear him, those that didn't believe him, look, they stayed in the field, they stayed outside, they didn't listen, and that's what happened. In 9:22, our Creator said to Moses, stretch out forth your hand towards the heaven, so there will be hail in the whole land of Egypt, upon man, upon beast, and upon every herb of the field. And that's exactly what happened throughout all the land. And the hail started. So now we go to 9:23. We see the seventh plague happening here. It says, Moses stretched forth his hand towards the heaven, and our Creator sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground. And our Creator rained hail upon the land of Egypt, so that there was hail, and fire was flaming amidst the hail, very grievous, such as there was none. like it never before in the land of Egypt has ever been seen, since it became a nation. And a hail struck throughout all the land of Egypt, and there was even in the field both man and beast, and the hail struck every herb in the field, and broke every tree of the field. Only the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. Now, can you imagine seeing this happen? It's one thing to see it raining across the street, but where you are it's sunny. But can you imagine seeing hail come down like this, or snow and thunder and lightning, and here you are right in the midst of it, and nothing is happening there? Well, I mean, how many signs does one need? In 9:27, Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said to them, I have sinned this time. And so now he's acknowledging that he was wrong, and our Creator is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Plead with our Creator, for it is enough that there will be no more mighty thunderings and hail, that I shall send you out, and you will stay no longer. And Moses said to him, as soon as I leave the city, I shall spread abroad my hands to our Creator, and the thunders will cease, and neither will there be any more hail. So you will know now that everything belongs to our wonderful Creator, and it's Him that's doing all of this. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not yet receive what our Creator has to say. And the flax and the barley were smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in the bloom. But the wheat and the rye was not smitten yet, for they have not yet grown up. And 9:33 says, Moses went out from the city and to Pharaoh, and he spread his hands amongst the sky and to our Creator, and the thunders and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder had ceased, he sinned yet more, and straightened his heart, or hardened his heart, he and his servants, and the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, so he would not send the children out as our Creator had spoken to Moses. So this is a pattern in this what we see here, the plagues that had happening. We saw 7 plagues so far in this reading, and that's the end of this Torah portion this week. It's repetitiveness, a repetitive story, and that's what we got to think about. And what is it? It's our Creator coming to speak to the unsaved, and them rejecting His message, and each time something happens worse to them. Remember, we're blessed for obedience, and we're cursed for disobedience. So He's given us the Torah, the instructions and the guideline that we are to follow. And He later on says to Moses throughout the scriptures, these are the instructions, the Torah, what the children should follow. If they follow it, they will be blessed abundantly. But if they continue to reject my Torah, continually plagues will come amongst them. And when we fast forward to what we have today, Yeshua giving the same message to the children, saying, these are the instructions. So Yeshua, the message, just like Moses was giving the message to the people. Moses and Aaron were the mouthpiece. We see the human form of our wonderful Creator, Yeshua the Messiah Himself, being the mouthpiece and giving the message. Just like the message was given to Pharaoh today, the children of the earth, the children all over are Pharaoh. They are the ones that during the hard times will say and admit that nobody could do what our Creator could do, and let my people go. I'll let you go, or I'll submit. I'll stop being obedient. But then once the plague stops, all of a sudden they change their heart. They don't have any faith. The Torah is not on their heart. There's no obedience, and the church is leading the way today with their disobedience and not following the word. And the plagues continue to happen worse and worse and worse. This is a wonderful example and a wonderful story of what we got going on today. Just change Moses and Aaron with Yeshua, and just change Pharaoh with the people of today, including the church and the non-believers and everyone out there today. And then you see what's happening. It's time we woke up. You see, when you are obedient, you get the blessings that our Creator has. And that's what we continue to see, and that's what we see all throughout the scriptures. You look at Judges, what happened? The children were judged, and when they were listening, guess what? All the oppression that was going up against them ceased. And when they disobeyed, they were taken over. Continually, all throughout the scriptures, this is the message. And in Revelation, it continues to say, during the end times, those that are obedient and righteous and have my word in their heart, those are the ones that will be exalted. Those other ones, those will be punished. We got to understand, folks, it's the blood of Messiah that we're saved through, but we're blessed through obedience. And here we are looking at the same message, setting it up, because again, it is the foundation of everything. To understanding it over and over again, reading it, understanding it, reading, understanding it. So it's time we woke up and getting it through our thick skulls to understand this is what we got to start doing. There's no other way. There's no other person. There's no magicians or anyone that could do what our Creator has done, is doing, and will do. So you submit to Him and you will be blessed. All right, everybody, this is Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries. Thanks for checking us out. Next week's reading, you could start reading it right now if you want, so you could start understanding that as well. And this when we read it next time you're with me here, is going to be Exodus 10:1 to Exodus 13:16. Exodus 10:1 to Exodus 13:16. If you have any comments or questions, please post them below the videos. If you see this video on Facebook or on YouTube or somewhere, why don't you like it and forward it and pass it on to your friends? That'll help out. Go to my website, TorahLifeMinistries.org, or I'll make it simple for you, www.torahlife.tv, and check that out. All right, until then, everybody, have a great Shabbat coming up this next Shabbat, and Shalom, shalom.